Cultural Institute, and thank you so much for joining us this evening for a conversation with our illustrious guests. It is a pleasure for me to introduce you to the work of an extraordinary Italian contemporary artist, Irene Fenara. She has been included in the New Words Women to Watch 2024 exhibition by the National Museum of Women in the Arts, which I encourage you to go visit. Her work focuses on how technology observes and transforms reality, and how ubiquitous cameras offer a different interpretation of our world. This evening, her innovative work is framed by an extraordinary curator, writer, and art organizer, Victoria Reis, founder and executive and artistic director of Transformer, an internationally recognized nonprofit visual arts organization based here in Washington, D.C. Together, our guests will explore the focus of Irene Fenara's artistic research and help us discover and understand her work more deeply. Irene, Victoria, thank you so much for being here tonight. We're really looking forward to your insights and all that you want to share with us about your work. So thank you so much. And also I would like to thank for their precious help in organizing this event, the rest of the staff at the Italian Cultural Institute. So Michele, Ferruccio, Pasquale, Carlotta, and our intern, Antonio. Without further ado, join me in welcoming to the podium and to the floor, Victoria Reis and Irene Fenara.
Thank you. Let's see how our microphones are working. Thank you so much, Aletra. I'm Victoria Reis. I'm the founder and director of Transformer. And for those of you that might not be familiar with us, Transformer is a nonprofit visual arts organization based here in Washington, D.C. We connect and promote emerging visual artists across multiple global platforms through exhibitions and other educational programs. I encourage you to take a look at what we do, transformerdc.org. We also have copies of our book documenting the first 2 decades of our work and some other literature over on the piano. This is one of many collaborations that we have had the honor of doing with the Italian Cultural Institute as well as the Embassy. And it's wonderful to be here tonight with Irene, whose work is just absolutely phenomenal and who is the Italian selected artist that is featured in the New World's Women to Watch exhibition that just opened at the National Women's Museum here in Washington, D.C. To tell you a little bit about Irene, and then she will speak about her work. She is an artist who lives and works between Milan and Bologna, and her work has been exhibited in private and public institutions throughout Europe. However, this is actually her first exhibition in the United States, and I'm sure will not be the last, the first of many, many to come. Her work investigates the gesture behind every photographic operation, which is watching. In particular, she observes, investigates, and interprets the way machines look. There are hundreds of mechanical glances in front of which we pass every day, and she focuses on the generative algorithms and surveillance cameras. And the images they show that are often unclear, dirtied by a series of errors, such as an obstacle in front of the lens, a lack of resolution, or an evident chromatic alteration. Just like our eyes, they see or re-see and transform reality, capitulating us into an alternative and mysterious universe. And the piece that Irene has on view at the National Museum for Women in the Arts is a beautiful culmination of her evolution as an artist. And I am going to let her speak about it, but I will be asking questions along the way, and then we will have an open dialogue so that all of you can ask questions. Are we having a technical? See the technical difficulties of our mechanical
let you
world.
See the work, but... Okay. Don't worry. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for being here, and thank you, Victoria, for the introduction. The work I'm presenting now, it's yeah. I'm very interested
school
in
style.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very interested in understanding how technology can change our perception of reality, and in this case, of nature, because I was working on the idea that there are in the world more images of tigers than real living ones, because of course images of tigers are millions, like everything else, but the living animal in the year I made this work, that was 2020, was more or less 3,000, so it's a very little number. And so I worked on this disproportion between these numbers. And what I did is to use a generative algorithm, because I was interested in the words that works with generative algorithms that are like to generate, to reproduce, to save, that are words that works well with the natural world, but also with the image making. So that's why I choose to use a generative algorithm in this case. And I created a data set that is a folder that the algorithm needs to learn how to recreate something. And I put in this data set just 3,000 images of tigers, like the number of living tigers. But this number is not enough for this device, to this algorithm, to reproduce reproduce exactly the figure, the image of the tiger. And what the algorithm reproduce is this kind of abstract images. So the images weren't enough, and these images are like the representation of the animal disappearing in a way, because it's not enough.
I think this is really such a remarkable, very significant work, and it touches on so many different themes. One, the use of the technology is fascinating. That you're using AI technology, and you're also in that use. Well, it has been a very effective tool for you. It also examines the challenges and the mistakes of AI. So that's one component that I found fascinating. Also, the environmental climate change component that you're investigating by through the subject matter of tigers, and that, as you said, there are maybe, we don't know for sure, but about 3,000 tigers left in the world. And yet there are millions of images of tigers all through the internet. And so it created this kind of false narrative to our understanding of, oh, well, there are tigers everywhere. We can see them all online. But in actuality, no. There are not that many. And then three, I thought it's just fascinating to see how your work has evolved, that you did this as a textile piece, and also the commentary about animal preservation, that you created this. I mean, so many animal skins are used as rugs or wall hangings. And so in your commentary about the fragility of nature and the tigers, that you evolved your work to have the piece created as a textile piece, as a rug, like an animal skin, and an extra layer to that you had it created in India, where the most of the wild tigers live.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I choose the image of the tiger because it's very, very present in our collective imagery. So tigers are on logos of everything, like fashion logos, oil logos, cereal logos everywhere, but at the same time, of course, the animal is not so present in the world. So I was thinking about that, and the concept that there are more images of something that the real thing, I think it suits well with a lot of things, except maybe for industrial ones. But I was interested in the tiger because of that reason, because it's very present in our imagery. But yeah.
So your background is as a photographer. You're a photographer or multidiscipline artist, but you incorporate photography in your work. How did you get started in your interest in surveillance cameras and your manipulation of data and information, and then translating that into a visual way?
Yeah, these are just other
Of
examples.
course, there's so much we can cover here.
Of the tapestries. I just say just one more thing about this work. That is, of course, as you said, I was thinking at the beginning about carpets with animal skins that are used in certain houses. And so that's why I wanted something that can be touched in a way, because it's something soft and yeah, like a skin. But at the same time, working with tapestries, I discovered that the way tapestry works is very similar to the way generative algorithm works. So that ropes are like pixels, and how the image is constructed is it's very very similar. So it's strange to think about this very distant. Techniques that works actually the same.
And this piece that we're seeing here that is featured in the Women's Museum is part of a series.
Yeah.
And is the series all looking at the tigers, or is it okay?
So yeah, because my idea was to create digital fauna for this animal that was disappearing.
Tribe.
So it's a series of tapestries about tigers, and I choose a different stadium of the generative process, because I wanted to have a different stadium of the growing tiger, also like puppies and the grown tiger and so on.
Tribe or pride? Pride is lions, right? Tigers. Is it a cub of tigers?
Yeah, and also the dimensions, it's a very big work, because I was thinking about the dimension of the animal, so I wanted to be a large size as a tapestry also.
So are the different tapestries different algorithms that you ran?
I use the same algorithm, but are different outputs that the algorithm give to me back. And actually, this is a work from 2020, so maybe today algorithms are more and more sophisticated. So maybe today with 3,000 images, it's enough to recreate a defined figure of a tiger. Maybe, I don't know.
The technology is changing so
yeah, and
quickly.
Also tigers are more today than in 2020, because today are more or less 4,000. Not so
good.
much.
Well, some more is still good. Yeah, I would love to. So what you have a prepared set of images? Do you have examples of some of your previous work?
Yeah.
I'm very curious about the evolution of your practice.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, yes.
Okay.
That's okay. The AI can hear us.
Can you again?
While we're waiting for the images, maybe
Yeah,
you can
it's
tell us
fine,
a
it's
little
fine.
bit, about how you got initially interested in this kind of work.
A very big part of my work is using images that are coming from surveillance cameras, and I use private surveillance cameras. So, are those cameras you can find on do-it-yourself stores or something like that, and people doesn't change security codes, so it's very easy to access into these cameras. And I was very interested in this easy access to a device that is very functional in a way. And I started collecting this kind this some of the images. I started collecting these images because I was interested in the fact that a very functional and specific device can produce at the same time an aesthetic and images that are very interesting in the aesthetics that they can produce.
What is this body of work that we're looking at?
We are looking at a series of work that is called supervision, because I wanted to think about, of course, surveillance and supervision, but at the same time in an augmented vision of the machine, because I'm really interested in this vision that I think the machine can produce when it's not doing anymore the work that we want the machine to do. So, for example, in this kind of images, there are a series of errors that, in a way, they aren't working anymore, because you can see actually what the camera has to surveil or to control, like with very alterated colors. And I never change colors or anything else. I use the images as I found it, because I'm interested in researching on this aesthetic that I think they can produce.
I think you're very clever in your use of the term "you're re-seeing." So you are both sharing the visual that these cameras are picking up, but then you are looking back at the actual camera and technology and kind of breaking down what the cameras are capturing, or giving specific focal points to what the cameras are capturing. I'm curious about all of these works. Since we're on this screen right now, perhaps you could tell us about these two pieces.
Yeah, I collect images when I don't know what I'm watching. Actually, it's something I'm very interested in, to watch something without knowing anything about that, and then watching and watching again. Sometimes I understand what I'm watching, sometimes not. And for example, for the red one, I don't really know what it is, but for the big one, I can tell that is recording of a billboard, a LED billboard for advertising. But at the same time, it was raining, so there were water drops on the lens of the camera, so everything becomes abstract for this reason. So I'm very interested in collecting this kind of situation. Mm-hmm. So it's maybe an external situation like rain, but sometimes it's also internal situation like an error of data transmissions and something like that. So we can say I like to collect errors, but I don't like to call it in that way, because I think that the error is a specific way in which a machine is actually seeing, like animals in a way, because animals sees in a different way from each other, like cats or dogs see in a different way, but of course they see in a different way from us, so that's why That's what interests me about these devices, that they can help me to see in a different way.
And is the surveillance footage that you're utilizing, is it footage that you are manifesting or producing? Are you setting up cameras to capture images, or are you going online to pull footage? And how are you accessing uh, surveillance cameras? Are you focusing on specific businesses or locations, or how do you define or select what surveillance imagery you will use?
Yeah, I never put myself surveillance cameras. I just use the existing ones. I am interested in researching inside these devices that are already everywhere. So there are hundreds, millions of cameras all around the world, and so I like to think that I can use all the cameras in the world in a way. So I don't need a camera myself because I have every camera in the world in a way. But yeah, I access into this private surveillance camera in which owners doesn't change security codes, so it's very easy because these codes are like 1234000 or something like that. It's very easy. So I was thinking about this. About someone that is trying to protect something fragile in a way, but at the same time they are opening a window to everybody as a connection potentially. So it becomes exactly the opposite of what it has to be. Yeah.
You're flipping the purpose of the surveillance, which likely is meant to be protecting,
exactly.
a resource, and then the resource is
it's in front of everybody. Right. Yeah. And it's like leaving the keys in the door, and everybody can enter in a way.
Right.
And also from a legal point of view, it's very interesting because it's not well regulated yet. So it's a gray area to to work.
So are there specific cameras or footage that you're seeking, or specific entities whose surveillance you're most interested in, or do you do more random searches?
Yeah, I do random searches, but then I notice that I'm always interested in landscapes, a lot of landscapes, that it's also strange because I work with private surveillance cameras. So you can think that private surveillance cameras are just in the inside, but actually there are a lot of cameras watching outside. That is also from a legal point of view strange because privates can record the public space. So it's very interesting to me to analyze all these elements in the research.
And of all the footage that you have access to, or that you focus in on, within that, how do you select the specific views or endpoints that you choose to then print?
Sometimes just by colors, because I'm interested in constructing this idea of an aesthetic of surveillance. Sometimes because of the situations, sometimes when I don't know what I'm watching, sometimes all these elements make me want to save an image. I really like to think about saving images because I'm saving something from a short disappearance in a way, because these kind of images are deleted every 24 hours. So to save a file to me is also saving something from disappearing. Something similar with the tigers, actually, in a way.
You're saving a moment in time too.
Yeah, that in a way is also very near to the traditional photography act, because you save a moment from a fluxus in a way. And so in this way is a kind of similar approach.
Yeah, and also it is very that it's where we see your hand, or your touch on the imagery of what your eye is drawn to and what you're choosing to select for us then to see. And now we see you.
Yeah, this is another series from Surveillance Camera Project that is called Self-Portrait from Surveillance Camera. And in this case, of course, in this case, I really, after years in which I was just looking inside these cameras, I felt the need to make experience with my body of these places. So that's why I decided to go there in front of one of these cameras. And I decided to take a self-portrait. Yeah, take a self-portrait looking into the camera. So I wanted to give the camera back my gaze, as all the cameras in the world are controlling us in a way. So I wanted to give them my gaze back.
And then also, it's another component of your artistic practice that you have evolved what you're doing now also into a performance art action.
Yeah, true.
Really.
It's also a strange way to travel because I'm going into these places in which maybe I will never go in for another reason. And yeah, and then when I arrive in these places, I I perceive the space very well because I watched that space for a long time before going there. So even if I've never been there, I know everything about that place.
We just met yesterday. You had a great outfit on that was dark colors, black with some pinstripe. You're wearing black today. Is that generally just your look, or are you intentionally wearing like a black outfit in all of these images, and it looks like the same coat or?
Exactly. I always wear black actually, but in this case, I always wear the same coat in every self-portrait. And at the beginning was just the coat I was wearing in the period of the first self-portrait, and then it became in a way a work outfit. Because I just use it to take self-portraits now, and yeah. And I was I always wear the same outfit because I wanted to be always the same in these images, because I wanted to become like a unit of measurement, because if I'm the only thing that is that appears in each of these images, so I can be a unit of measurement because if I'm the same size when I print the images, all the others things in the images will be in the same proportion that they have in real life. So that's why I decided to always wear the same outfit.
Have you ever set up surveillance at an exhibition of your work so that you're capturing people looking at you or looking at your work and making it meta?
I never did it, but maybe I can do it.
It's happening right now.
Maybe there are some camera for sure.
And what is and then there's the pixelation. I think is also very interesting. I mean, I think there's automatically pixelation in the surveillance that you're capturing. Are you manipulating that pixelation at all to expand on to get a specific look or aesthetic?
Actually, I like to work with large dimensions, so I like to expand these images in a way that are very low definition. So it's quite natural to this pixelation to become more and more evident with printing in a large way or projecting in a large way and so on. But it's something I'm really interested in because it's something that can give you some advice or what you are looking in a way, because for sure it's a device with a low definition, so maybe sometimes you can understand the origin of the image just looking at it.
And I'm just fascinated with the different, I mean, so the imagery is portraiture, it's landscape, it's abstract. What are some other styles or that you're pursuing in these they're photographic pieces? Have you ever also presented them as video?
Yeah, exactly. This one that you are seeing is a video that maybe now we can watch a little excerpt. And this is actually the first work I did with surveillance cameras. And in this case, I can also move the camera from my computer. So I started to look at the clouds in the sky. And because I was really attracted by these aesthetics, this black and white, and this this kind of pixelation, that it becomes in a way pictorial. But when I was looking at these clouds, I noticed that the camera going down automatically, because it was set to return in a certain points to work in a way, because the camera has to control some points in this farm in Denmark. And so what I did is like a struggle between me and the machine. I wanted to see the sky and the clouds, and the machine continues to work every few seconds. So I was thinking about dreaming, so following big dreams and watching the sky and the everyday life with this camera going back to work.
It's really fascinating because the imagery alone is just so beautiful and striking, and yet to understand, the complexities of what you're really examining and presenting.
I collect images from surveillance cameras from 2016, so now it's a few years, and I continue to collect these kind of images because I find it very interesting in an aesthetic way. So that's why interests me the most. In this case, is the same video, but I decided to install it inside Apple Watch on museum guards, museum attendant.
Amazing.
Because I was thinking about a control device like iWatch, that is something that controls all your data, also physical data, and so it's a device of control in a way, and also the museum attendant are in a way a control device in a way, because they have to control the room in the museums. So you have you have to ask these people to watch the video, so it becomes performative again, maybe, because it has to be an interaction. And this museum attendant told me that it was the first time that people talk to them. Because usually people never talk to museum attendants. So with this trick, in a way, they started talking about the work, and then continue talking about other stuff. And I find I didn't think about that before, but it was very interesting to me that they told me this story.
Well, also because the museum docents or guards are also surveillance.
Yeah, exactly.
They are human surveillance cameras capturing what's happening in the room with their eyes and reporting back if they saw anything. So it's just a whole another great you know meta moment of your work that you would include the people who are surveilling museum galleries in your project.
Yeah, these are different photos from different exhibitions. Yeah, this is another work from the supervision series. So also in this way, it's a very pictorial image. I was interested in this. I don't know how to describe it exactly, but the pixels and the low definition becomes like a painting sometimes, and that's another thing that interests me a lot. That a functional device can produce painting in a way. And these are some photos from my last solo exhibition I had in Milan last week. And
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. And in this case, it's like architectural lightbox because I work with the space, I work with the architecture, so I'm not just interested in images, that is the main focus actually of my work, but I also like to install it in relation with the space and the architecture.
That's your very interesting that you're working site responsively in that way, and large,
Yeah,
but then also
exactly.
small. What
Yeah.
what are the what are these images of? And is this part of the larger
Exhibition, yeah. It's the same exhibition. And in this case, I was thinking about the limit of visibility. So there is or too much light or too much dark, and you can't recognize anything in these images at the end, like in this case. And this is another part of the exhibition in which I wanted to go outside in the public space and using this billboard on the street with a landscape from surveillance camera.
Was that an existing billboard that you projected
Yeah.
onto?
Yeah, I actually just print an image and put on the billboard.
Good
Yeah.
for you.
And this is the last work I'm talking about this tonight. And this is also a video again. And also, I really like the sculptural element of videos. Like before, you saw the LED wall. The other video was on a LED wall, so it's something very concrete in a way, because I like to give body to these images that are just digital and virtual ones. So it's very important to me, the act of printing and the act to give them a concrete device, because I like to think that doing in that way we can understand better these images, because I bring it into our universe in a way. Yeah. And in this case, it's a video in which I was interested. It's also surveillance camera, and I was interested in this image because I really like the colors and the fishes and the aquarium. But at the same time, I noticed that there is a presence. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, it's the owner of the camera that is reflected into his aquarium. So I started stalking him in a way. And recording him in his everyday life. So yeah, I was interested in this.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it's also control in a way, in different ways, because he is controlling his fishes. I am controlling him in a way, using his camera. Yeah, and maybe it's the work in which is most present the element of the control, respect to other works in which I was more interested in the aesthetic. But yeah, I follow him for like 4 months, and then he doesn't know anything.
Well, you were able to access his camera.
Yes,
So
exactly.
he's not
It's still
protecting
open,
it
his
very
camera.
well.
Yes, it's still open.
How difficult was it for you to get through to access his cameras?
No, it's easy because it's like I told you before, a camera with 1, 2, 3, 4 password. So change your password. Unless you want to become one of my works.
I think that's a great segue to opening this up and having some conversation with everyone who is here and questions that you may have.
Yeah.
Doing that at the National Museum.
No.
That was just a
I did it in 2 museums in Italy. One is Maxi in Rome, and the other is Museion in Bolzano. Because they asked me a performative work actually, and I decided to do this work with Apple Watches.
So you said that you print your own prints. What medium do you print on? Is it paper or something else?
Yeah, I do 2 ways more or less of printing. One is a fine art print. So like maybe you saw some work with frames and so on. This is the fine art printing. And then there is the blueback print that is the very big one that is going on the floor. These are, I like to work with different papers. So this is a billboard paper. And I like the dimension of it. And I like to work with already format of printing already set up, like billboards that are made by stripes and with a very defined dimension that is 6 meter for 3. No, never. But the image that you see of the exhibition with the architectural lightbox, it's transparent paper for architecture. I don't know the name in English, but it's transparent paper, and yeah, exactly. But also opaque and transparent at the same time, and it reflects lights in very interesting way.
Hi, I wanted to ask about the choice of imagery that then you decide to print. You were saying that you're interested in landscapes or color combinations, but I was wondering if geography or the location of the cameras is ever like the deciding factor and how that works out.
Yeah, actually, there are geotags into these cameras, but are not very well defined. But so I know more or less where these cameras are, but doesn't interest me so much where the geographical position is, because I really like this idea of not knowing what you are seeing, but also where you are seeing it. So I know more or less where it is, but it doesn't interest me so much.
Hello. What is your relationship to control and like control because someone else is like setting up a camera and you're controlling it? Also, does it make you sometimes feel more connected, like to the person with the fish, or does it make you feel lonelier? Anything about that?
Interesting. About control, I like to think that Um, I choose moments of these cameras where they are free in a way, free not to work and free to watch nature and watch something else that it's not work. And about how I feel, I don't know actually. Because the work with the men in the aquarium is the first work in which there is a person, because it doesn't interest me so much recording people, except myself. But in this case, I was very interested in this, like a ghost figure that was passing behind another images that is the one of the aquarium. So in that case, it was a little bit strange to follow this man without him knowing anything. But I don't know, I was attracted by the image more than to the person in a way.
Thank you. Very interesting. And my question is, how do you look at your work as representative of something that is from women? Besides yourself, what makes your work distinguished as
Maybe in the attitude of what I'm looking at, maybe, yeah. I think also except for being myself in the images, of course, it's very clear, but also maybe in the attitude, in what I'm looking for, so what I choose to collect.
Well, I wonder if there's something also about
Yeah.
control
Mhm.
and how, I think it can be more challenging for women to claim power and control, and here you are able to freely control and manipulate access to the information and imagery that might not otherwise be. I don't know if that's an intentional perspective on your part, or if it's just something that I could curatorially kind of observe or put on what I'm seeing of your work.
Yeah, I can understand, but maybe I never thought so much about this, but it's because it's natural to me to work in this way, so it happens to be like that.
You're not thinking of it as I'm a woman artist and this is what I'm doing. It's I'm an artist. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah, in a way, but also, yeah, I am a woman, so it's I don't know, it's inside, I think, the way I work. Yeah, I don't know exactly how to explain.
Yeah, no, but it's a great question because I had been thinking about that, and
I have maybe how you see your continuum, especially search yourself. But
Yeah, thank you so much for this observation. Actually, it's very interesting. This idea, thinking about watching, because it's a reverse gaze, maybe.
great future curatorial project. Yes.
Thank you.
I have a very quick question. I'm fascinated by art in general, but I have no talent. And at what point did you become interested in art, and was there somebody that nurtured you or inspired you or helped to guide you in becoming an artist? And the other question is, you obviously are inspired by a lot of different things that you're coming across, and taking something that's relatively simple and making something beautiful out of it. And has that always been your focus, or has your focus shifted as an artist over time? Thank you.
Thank you. So for the first question, I actually studied sculpture and visual arts, and then I don't know, it was natural to me to make this choice that is not actually a choice to make art, and yeah, I was very lucky because the context in which I studied was great, and I worked a lot at the beginning with artist friends, with artist around spaces, projects, and no-profit projects, and so on. Yeah, it's a very important moment in growing as an artist. And the second question was, what interests me from the beginning was understanding different devices and how these devices can say something more about what we are doing. So I always research these different devices. I started with Polaroids, then I worked a lot with scanners, and then with algorithms, and then I arrived to this to the surveillance cameras that interest me more and more every day. So that's why it's the main part of my work. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Talking about surveillance. Itself, and it surveillance. For hours.
Yeah, I'm very fascinated about this situation because I think that sometimes these kind of devices, these kind of cameras are forgotten by their owner. So they maybe look a white wall for years and nobody noticed that. And I like to think that I'm the only one who is watching inside these devices because most of the time people put these cameras and then doesn't think anymore about it, and maybe forgot it and all the images that it can produce. I have it.
Yeah, I was just curious how you got introduced to the algorithms that you mentioned, and I was curious also about like the process of learning how to use them. If you could share a little bit about.
Yeah, actually, I asked help of a programmer because I didn't know anything about how it works, actually a generative algorithm, but I was fascinated on the idea of generate and reproduce in an automatic way. So yeah, I asked this programmer to help me to use the most the algorithm that was working well in that year, that was 2020. And yeah, we create together the data set. The data set is something that needs the algorithm to learn. So the algorithm has to learn what you give him. So watching a lot of images of something, it has to reproduce an image that isn't the same. It's not equal to any of other images that you give it, but in a very similar way. But creating something new. That's why I choose this algorithm, because I wanted to create new animals, in a way, new digital animals for the fauna of the tiger. Thank you. Until the end of August, I think.
Yeah, it just opened this week. I think it actually opens to the public.
Maybe tomorrow?
Yeah. It's really a remarkable exhibition. I believe over 30, maybe 25 to 30
yeah.
our women artists are featured from it's an international perspective, as well as different contingents from the U.S. It's all different committees working with the museum, who nominated artists, and then two guest curators made the final selection of artists. And it's really it's the most significant, I think, in this exhibition series. I believe this is the 7th of these exhibitions at the museum.
So I'm puzzled how to get the images from surveillance cameras, like walk around on your phone for eye signal or something.
No, I do everything remotely by my computer at home, because this kind of problem is actually recent, because before, surveillance camera has a closed circuit, so the image remains inside the device, but then they connect this kind of device using internet, so you can control your camera by your smartphone. So in this moment, born this problem in a way, because if you can see it from your smartphone, then everybody has a connection, can connect to the IP address of the camera. Yeah. Yeah.
Irene, what is the best way for people to learn more about your work? Is it through your Instagram, a website, your gallery?
Yeah, I use a lot Instagram, because I publish almost every day images from surveillance cameras, because when I find something interesting, I like to post it like a discovery. And but also I have a website, and of course my gallery in Milan.
It's very you're accessible on Instagram.
Yeah.
I just typed your name in, and your link came up. So I encourage all of you to continue to follow Irene's work. You're quite young and have already achieved such significant work, and I am very excited to see what you will be doing next. And I am confident that this is just going to be the first of many exhibitions in the United States that you will have. So I look forward to more. Thank you so much to the Italian Cultural Institute and to the Embassy for hosting us tonight. And thank you all for coming out on a rainy Thursday evening and battling the traffic to be here. And thank you so much for giving us such great insight into your really significant body of work, which I'm sure we only saw part of. So I'm excited to dig in and learn more. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
And I hope you will come visit Transformer and learn more about the emerging artists that we support, who we hope will be evolving into the same sort of opportunities and great work that Irene is achieving. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.